I'm also planning on now this is somewhat tentative still, but I think I want to make my own alliance in PSO2. For the longest time, I kind of always been a part of other alliances, and though I don't dislike the alliance I'm in currently, I've never really felt like it's something of my own. It's been about a month since that video came out. I think it's about that time. Hey, what's going on, guys? Chrono here. It's it's time to go ahead and jump into this. This is going to be a video that goes live about the same time. I'll be live over on Twitch. I will be officially making our alliance, or I guess I'll have to call it our alliance, right? It's going to be something that's collaborative with all of us here together. I'm going to go ahead and address a few things here really quick as far as alliance stuff is concerned. I say really quick, but I've tried recording this video a couple of times and it's always a little over 10 minutes, maybe sometimes closer to 15. So apologies if that goes that long. There's a lot to say and a lot I want to make sure that gets kind of explained in this. That way people understand kind of what they're getting themselves into. To address the elephant in the room, I did have an alliance at one point in time on base PSO2. That alliance was absorbed into Karo's alliance primarily because it was just there for the alliance tree that existed in base PSO2. The time it was a mechanic, if you never played, that essentially gave you the extra bit of power that you needed in a lot of very high-end content, and to ensure that we always had access to it and that people weren't stuck in social experiences they didn't want to be in. I created an alliance, and a lot of us, pulled ourselves together to get enough points to build our tree up to what we needed. That way, you had a situation where you were able to not have to deal with a lot of, the social anxieties and irritations of alliances in general to get the player power you needed to get through a lot of content. After going into NGS, it became primarily a social thing, which isn't bad. And I thought it'd be better to just go ahead and assimilate that entire alliance into Kara's alliance. And he's been super awesome, and I appreciate him very much taking us all in. But it's been kind of like this hole in my PSO2 career that I've wanted to kind of fill for quite some time. And I think it's time to branch into creating our own alliance. So first few things to go over. Alliance name, I have no idea. I'm going to tentatively go with no refunds because that is the previous alliance's name, and I feel like it fits what we're going for here. One thing you can't refund is knowledge, but cringe levels aside, I feel like it's a good alliance name to go with. You'll find that I don't have a script for this. I'm just going to go mostly off the cuff because I wrote a script and I hated it, and I'm not writing a second script because writing a script is already hard enough. For those of you guys who do YouTube videos, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe you revise your scripts, but when I hate something, I just get rid of it. I don't want to deal with it anymore. The script is gone. We're just going to go everything organically, and we'll talk about what we're going for here. So let's start with kind of like the overall goal of what the alliance is supposed to be. It's not to say it won't be social. Definitely are social aspects to alliances, and I expect we will be social with one another. That's kind of the nice thing about having alliances. But the overall goal of the alliance itself is to bring like-minded players, both vets and new players or newer players alike, who are attempting to better themselves or better those around them. And when I say that, I mean primarily not necessarily playing meta, but pushing for optimal play. And when I say optimal play, what I mean is it's kind of hard to explain, but what I usually say is, though everything meta is optimal, not everything optimal is meta. And the easiest example I can give is take a player, for example, who is used to playing Tector from base PSO2. Now, in base PSO2, there was a form of Tector you could play that was a lot more cast focused, or caster focused, where you would cast techs a lot more often. In NGS, you primarily just bonk with your wand, which you do some tech casting, but it's primarily bonking with your wand. If I had someone come to me and say, "Hey, look, man, I want to play Tector, but I missed the casting aspect. What do?" I would tell them to play Tector Force. They're basically playing fake Force, and it's a weaker version of Force and a weaker version of Tector. But if that's what they're looking to do and how they want to play it, that is the optimal way to do it. That is essentially what I mean by optimal over meta. Now, at times, there will be things that you choose to do that are meta, and that's totally fine. Maybe you are going to play something meta. Maybe you want to play the most optimal version of Slayer, which will be meta. Maybe you want to play the most optimal version of, Bouncer, which also will be meta, depending upon the piece of content you're doing. maybe you want to play ranger, maybe you want, like, there's tons and tons of different options here in the situation itself. But part of what we're going to push for is optimal play over meta. Everyone plays differently, and I don't want to stifle that style of gameplay, especially in PSO2. However, we're also not going to be blind when it comes to that style of play. We will be honest, and I will be honest with individuals about certain things. If you're someone who is primarily playing, let's say, for example, if you're a ranger who doesn't like to play rifle, you want to play primarily launcher, you refuse to play rifle in any way, shapes, or forms. Well, I'm going to be honest with you, you're going to have a hard time. It's not to say that you can't do it. It's to say that it's going to be much more difficult for you to do something than it would be for someone in the same class playing the more meta choice to do. And that's totally fine. However, there will be times and situations where certain things will be called for or needed, and it's not going to be struggled because someone doesn't really want to conform to what's necessary. For example, if you've got a group of 4 people trying to push to clear something very, very difficult in the future, and what's required of us is more damage, and someone is just refusing to switch to something a bit more optimal to help out the group, maybe you don't get invited to do those sort of runs, unfortunately. And that's something that, as an individual, when you're playing a specific way, you have to tend to swallow, right? Like you're not entitled to that sort of thing. It's something that people want to bring you along with if you can help pull your own weight. And that's kind of what I want no refunds to be. I want it to be a situation where someone sees our alliance tag and they think to themselves, hey, look, man, I know at least that person is going to attempt to do what they can to help push forward our group, our party, whatever it is we're trying to do and get accomplished. They're going to do their best to push that forward. Even if it may not be the most meta decision that they can make, it is going to be the most optimal based on what they're trying to do. And that's the whole idea behind no refunds and what I want to help facilitate and bring together. Now, as with any alliance, there will of course be rules, and there are things that we're just not going to tolerate. These are kind of no negotiation, non-negotiables. These are things that just aren't going to be a thing that we're going to deal with. There will be no bullying. I'm not going to stand for it. I'm not going to stand around it. I'm not going to allow anyone to get away with specific things. Bullying just will not be tolerated under any circumstances. Harassment also will not be tolerated under any circumstances. Leave people alone. Don't make things more difficult on individuals around you. It goes against the entire idea behind our alliance itself. Which I feel like I shouldn't have to explain to people why that's a bad thing. But in today's day and age, you have to maintain a side that you are on. You have to be very, very, very firm about it. There'll be no trolling of any kind. It kind of goes along with harassment, and it's not just for individuals in the alliance. It's for anyone in the game whatsoever. If for some reason you're out there being a menace to society, I don't want you with our alliance tag. It's just not something that's going to happen under any circumstances. And if I find out that's the case, you'll be removed. It's that simple. I don't care how strong you are. I don't care how much of a great player you are or anything along those lines. If that's the type of individual you're going to be, I don't want you with our alliance tag. It's that plain and simple. No cheating, of course, will be tolerated, or breaking TOS. It goes without saying. Again, things that are against TOS or cheating will not be tolerated. RMT, of course, won't be tolerated. That goes along with the whole TOS situation itself. I'm not telling you that you as an individual can't make your own decisions. I'm telling you that as an alliance, we're not going to praise you for them. Neither do we want to hear about you doing them. So that is your decision to make on your own. Take for that what you will. However, as a part of the alliance, it's not going to be something that we as a group are going to praise you for. Also, a lack of effort. Again, the whole point of this alliance is for those who want to better themselves and those around them. And if you ever caught yourself saying the phrase, I don't have augments in my gear because I am a fashion main, I don't want you. That seems pretty mean, but in the way that PSO2 is currently set up, you can quite literally gear for almost nothing. While I do understand some things are expensive, I'm not expecting you guys to best in slot gear yourselves. You don't have to have the most meta cracked augments of all time, but I do expect you to put in somewhat of an effort to gear yourself to an extent if you're playing at endgame. I don't want you to be a detriment on those around you. I need you to at least be able to pull your own weight, or at least understand how you can get to that point and work towards doing that. And you're probably thinking, man, that seems unfair, man. Augments are expensive. I can't spend 1 to 2 mil on gearing myself up completely, because yes, that 1 to 2 mil is actually enough to fully gear yourself. I've done it. And granted, it's not great gear, but it does get you started and get you in the door. But yeah, you realize that you think to yourself, man, that's a lot of money. That's too expensive, until you understand that it takes it takes a week's worth of dailies and weeklies to get that money. And that's only dailies and weeklies. That doesn't count anything that you actually farm. So yeah, that's not going to be something that we that we tolerate as far as that process itself goes. I will not have individuals running around in Swiss cheese gear, especially when you find out that they're running around with accessories or camos at upwards of 12 to 20 mil. Granted, I'm not saying you shouldn't have those. You shouldn't have fashion that's more expensive than your gear, but there should be, you know, a floor, right? I don't need you running around here in a Lambo and living in a box, my guy. Anyway, that's basically it. I think that's kind of mostly of what I wanted to talk about as far as the alliance itself goes. I guess a few things in the background. I don't have any officers. Skull's gonna be the only one that's actually currently helping me with putting this together, and her assistance is mostly going to be helping me figure out how the alliance system itself works in the first place, because I've never actually used it in NGS outside of just merging my alliance with Kara's. Like, that was pretty much about it. Other than that, I haven't really used it, so it'll be a process of me figuring that out. It'll be open to recruitment, of course, so those of you guys who do fit the mindset, and even if you're not sure, like maybe if what I explained is something that you want to be a part of, I think that's enough. So I'm not looking for you guys to be the absolute crack gamers of all time. I'm not looking for the best players, but I'm also looking, you know, to be real with individuals. Most of us are adults here. Hopefully all of us are, considering the game that we play. But realistically speaking, we should understand what it is we're getting ourselves into. The Discord we'll be using will be my Discord. It'll be the streaming Discord, because I am a streamer and I'm a YouTuber, and part of that's going to be part of the alliance itself. It's just that simple. Granted, if you don't want to be a part of the YouTubes and stream stuff, that's totally understandable. You can still be in the Discord. You can still, you know, be in the alliance itself. If you don't want to be part of those two things, I don't know how you found the alliance. Maybe you found it in game and then got a link to this video, who knows, but teach their own, I suppose. But that's totally fine as well. You're not forced into it or anything along those lines. I will be looking for officers. I will be looking for individuals I can count on. I'll be talking to a lot of people, but I'll mostly be footing the bill, or I'll mostly be carrying the weight on my own. I'm sure people will ask, what about alliance-based stuff? I don't know anything about building alliance stuff or building creative spaces. I'm really bad at that sort of thing. So I'll be looking for someone for that as well. Keep your fingers crossed. If that's something that you're personally great at doing, and I don't have anyone else to do it, you know, speak up for yourself. Let me know what's up. We'll talk. And keep in mind, I'm only one individual who gets overwhelmed with a lot of things. So I'll do the best I can, but I will probably make mistakes. I probably missed something in this video that I wanted to talk about. So come over to the actual YouTube, or come over to the actual Twitch channel and ask questions in the comments. I'll do my best to get around to them, and hope to see you guys in game. If there is anything else I missed, expect to see either comments, a pinned comment, or we'll talk about it on stream. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching all the way to the end. I know it's a lot to take in. Hopefully my entire thoughts came across properly. I didn't miss anything that I wanted to talk about. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everyone. Peace out.